Hello all, this is Dswank. I am in Space Engineers, and I have been asked to take a look at a ship by some people on the channel. Now, before I get started on that, I want to explain, if you request me to look at a ship, and I do that, I am going to be incredibly harsh in my assessment of the ship. Okay? And I rarely spotlight or review small block ships just because there's not much to go on. But this was a request that is a small block ship. It is the RSI Explorer, uh, Explorer, and by Ronnie Dude. And it's a small block ship. It's got a lot of cameras on it, looking back, up, down, left, right. Not a camera looking forward. It's a remote control ship. No antenna. So, let's go through my start from the back and work our way back. What I like the shape. I like the shape of the nose. There is a problem, at least for me. You have this set up. It's not piped in at all. I'm actually okay. I can't really. I want to take a look right here. Okay, so it is slightly piped up. Let me grab the paint. No, the white paint. There we go. So it is slightly piped up, not significantly. Your only way of putting resources in is here, and that's how it gets to the reactor. My big problem with this is why? You have guns on it, but I'm outside of I don't have any protection as a character. So you have guns on it. That means you're willing to take it into combat. But you have no defense for the pilot. And you have this. This is a very weak part of the ship. The cockpit area where your pilot sits is just incredibly weak. It'll be punched through really easily as soon as combat starts. Not just because people will aim there, but you've got really one of your first components that have a computer in it is right here. And the guns target computers first. So, or computer components first. I mean, you might get your braking thrusters on the nose taken out, but I mean, fairly quickly it's going to start hitting here, and then it's you. And yeah, you're going to die pretty quick in this. I guess, let me jump in. I do like the fact that it's got cameras. That's something I tend to forget. Remote control. Control. Okay, so and there's nothing fancy set up for the, like the cameras and stuff. I mean, really, if you're going to do this, you need to have the cameras set up. Okay, so let's take it for a spin, see how it does. Accelerates real slow. Real slow. Now, I will say, if this is your first ship, I should clarify a couple of things. If this is your first ship, it's pretty well done. You've got things piped up. You've got some of the more complex things down. So let me move to some stuff I do like. I like the thruster pack. I like the way this looks at the back. This, the design, the angles, everything, one solid rocket hit. And actually, I'm gonna have to take back a little bit because I honestly expected that rocket to take out the seat. So it may be a little better than my first gut reaction, but it's not that much because the problem I have, and I've figured it out now. It's the guns. I think I've said this before, but it is the guns that are on it. The guns imply your combat in space. Space engineers, you have a maximum speed. So, if this thing had a few more rear thrusters on it, and you could just, if something scary showed up, you could just outrun it, it would make sense. But it's not particularly fast, and it's not particularly well armed, and it's not particularly well armored. Meaning that you're going to, well, if you get attacked by anything that has one rocket turret on it, that's in the vanilla game, you're going down pretty easily. If you're, or even something with a GAT turret, you're gonna go down. If you're being offensive, no, but it doesn't have any sensors on it, so I'm so confused. I'm trying to now guess uses for it. I mean, if you had multiple of these out, and we're doing like a demolition derby with your friends, or a race, like an endurance race, okay. But if this had some special purpose, I can see it. But if it's based in survival, it's not a particularly well-designed ship. And I mean, aesthetically, it's good looking. I like it. Aesthetically, I would turn it into a full drone instead of having it be what it is, because it does look fairly cheap. I would turn it into a full drone. I would put a forward-facing camera on it, maybe a turret on it as well. Like, replace the cockpit here area, armor it up a little more so you had another layer of armor in there. Put a turret on top so you had some extra firepower. Put a forward-facing camera maybe on the turret itself. And this would make a pretty mean little combat drone. Especially with some of the new scripting. You could clear out the seat and put some scripting in there and stuff like that. But my problem with it is that it's got a pilot seat in it. And it's got Gatling, or it's got a passenger seat and Gatlings. And that just doesn't work for me. It has a passing grade in aesthetics, I will say that. Because it looks good. It looks good to me. Despite all my bitching and complaining about it, it looks good. And if I put it in a world and built this, it would have a different purpose. It would be a combat drone. It would not be a seat. I'd have to do a huge amount of retrofitting for me to feel comfortable flying it myself. It's hard to say much more about this. Again, everything I've said is my opinion. And again, the aesthetics look nice. Just the rest of it is the purpose is mind-boggling to me. It's not really an effective scout or search ship because you don't have sensing apparatus on it. And you could lose it very easily thanks to not having a beacon or an antenna. You've got guns on it, which means it's intended to be taken into combat. But it's so fragilely, spindly put together that a couple good hits will tear it apart. And the pilot is not protected. The only thing going for it is the potential overall. The overall cost of the ship might be low enough that you could tear it down and carry it in your pocket on the right size inventory. So, I'm sorry if you were the one that designed the ship and you feel like I was overly harsh, but from now on, I am going to review any ship that was requested, but it's going to be a harsh review. This is only my second ship that I've had request of. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. If you'd like to download the ship, go ahead and check out the description below, where they will always be. And until next time, bye-bye.